Jang Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunnam Didibhai Vedai Sangapada Upanishadai Gayanti Jang Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Jang Yoginaha Jasyantam Navidhushura Shuragana Devaya Tashmai Namaha. Our salutations to him who is the truth of life and existence, and whom the sages call by various names. Our salutations to him whose glory is sung in sacred hymns of the various scriptures of the world, but whose limitless and infinite grandeur no mortal mind can comprehend. Our salutations to him whom the devotees meditate in the shrine of their hearts and realize his ineffable presence in their deepest contemplation. May he illumine our understanding and prompt our minds to the path of truth and righteousness. May he reveal himself unto our souls and dispel the gloom of illusion, fear, doubt, and darkness. Om peace, peace, peace. Peace be unto us. Peace be unto all mankind. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Tat Sat. The subject of my talk this morning is steps to illumination. Swami Vivekananda came in the year 1893 to represent Vedanta philosophy to the Western world. The meeting ground was Chicago. In Chicago, there was a World's Fair, and part of the World's Fair was Parliament of Religions. So Swami Vivekananda came as a representative. Of Hinduism, which should be called Vedanta, philosophy of life. He found the Western world has progressed tremendously on account of two important streams of thought that the West has inherited from the past. The first stream of thought was given by the Greek philosophers. Plato was the father of Western philosophy, and Aristotle was the father of scientific development of the Western man. Both these philosophers appeal to the West to think of reason to be the source of inspiration and the source of enlightenment. Therefore, in the West, when I speak about enlightenment, the age of enlightenment, it was the rationalistic movement of the great philosophers. Now, this stream of thought was to some extent checked in the Middle Ages by the theologians. Two important theologians come to my mind, Saint Augustine and Saint Thomas Aquinas. Both of them believed in faith in revelation. Augustine did not try to bridge the gulf between reason and faith, but Thomas Aquinas tried. And in his book, what you call Summa, he tried to prove the existence of God. And he gives 5 proofs. But I do not accept a single proof to be a proof. Cosmological argument, ontological argument, teleological are no proofs at all. There is only one proof: experience. In other words, the West has not tried to reach a state of consciousness which is beyond reason, beyond faith, beyond this world of time, space, and relativity. Augustine has given to the Western man called a linear view of time. But Einstein rejected that view and said time is relative. Relativity of time will be accepted by all the scientists, no matter whether the scientist belongs to the East or the West. Therefore, we find that the modern age is the age of science and technology. And a scientific man will be respected and honored. But theologians are now trying to bring their theological understanding in the democratic countries. Russia has rejected religion. Religion is the opiate of the people. But democratic countries, there is a kind of alliance between science and religion. But that is the reason why you find that time and space, these two categories were relative to Einstein, but not law of causation. Now, Heisenberg's theory of indeterminacy is creating a kind of unrest in the mind of the theologians as well as the mind of the scientists. Max Planck, Newton, and also Einstein will never endorse the theory of called indeterminacy. If you accept the theory of indeterminacy, you are leaning towards mysticism. And mysticism is not to be acceptable by Western mind. Western mind will always cling to reason to be the supreme court of appeal. Now Swami Vivekananda came. He wanted to tell the Western people that you need not have to discard reason. Go beyond reason, but see that it does not become unreasonable. So there is a state of consciousness which the Upanishadic teachers have called Turiya, the 4th state of consciousness. Only when you have reached the 4th state of consciousness, you will be called an illumined soul. A rational philosopher is not an illumined soul. An illumined soul is a person who has reached a state of consciousness where there is no duality, where there is no time, space, and causation to be absolute reality. And that is what Shankaracharya said in his philosophy of Maya. The world is Maya. The West will not accept it. The world is real. Reality of the world is the theme, the keynote of Western way of thinking. And therefore I have not come here to please the Western people or Eastern people. This distinction between West and East is uncalled for. In illumination, there is no distinction. Illumination means a timeless realization. And when you reach the timeless realization, you realize your real self. Now you cling to your apparent self. Egocentric individuality is illusory. That is what Shankaracharya says. But people without understanding Shankara's philosophy, called Shankara speaks of world as an illusion. He does not say that. Maya means appearance. Reality means that which cannot be changed. There is no possibility of change in the past, present and future. That is called abadhitattva. Abadhitattva means that which cannot be contradicted. You can deny everything, but you cannot deny the existence of the denier. You can never say, I am not. So here we find that Swami Vivekananda, therefore, when he spoke in the Parliament of Religions, he was just one of the rishis of the Vedic days and wanted to give spiritual vision, spiritual understanding, and also dignity of man, which comes from realizing his true nature. So, ye divinities on earth. I was not present, but I have read only the books, you see. So it is my smriti. But my shruti is this, Tattvamasi. That is what the West needs. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda, you see, as it were as a representative of the rishis of India, taking ye divinities on earth, it is a sin to call a man sinner. The moment you say, accept the original sin, which is the gift of St. Paul. St. Paul did not see Christ. Although all the Christians will accept him as an apostle, I also read in a college named after him, St. Paul's Cathedral Mission College in Calcutta, you see. So I like him, but he was not trained by Christ. On the other hand, Peter was trained. John was trained, the great beloved. And what I want to tell the Western people, that Christian faith has not been understood by Protestant religion. Christian faith speaks in terms of renunciation, not in terms of enjoyment of these material joys of this world, which are fleeting, transitory and ephemeral. They have come here for Jivan Mukti. That means liberation in this life with this body. And you can realize that when you identify yourself with your true nature and not your superficial, spurious, apparent self. So Swami Vivekananda, therefore, ye divinities on earth. So you are potentially divine. And the purpose of life to actualize this divinity. And this divinity cannot be actualized if you follow the path of enjoyment. Sarvendriyanam jaranti tejaha. You read in the Upanishad. You see, enjoyment saps the vigor of the senses and depletes all the energies. One has to store up the energy, which the scientists call conservation of energy. In order to, therefore, sanjama is necessary. Not freedom to the senses, but freedom from the senses. Whether you accept or not, the style of living of the Western people is not efficacious for gaining freedom in this life with this body. Therefore, the style of living must change. And only few will accept this challenge from so-called, the philosophers who try to make life secure, but really no security will come to any individual unless he has found a solid rock on which to build his house. That is what Christ speaks in one of his teachings. Don't build your house on a sand, build your house on a rock. And that rock is renunciation. That means you have to identify yourself with your real self and not your apparent self. Now Buddha speaks of illumination also. And he used the word called nirvana. But the Christians speak about illumination in terms of salvation. Salvation is a post-mortem experience. But illumination is jivan mukti according to Shankara. We have come here, Jivan Mukti Shuka Hetabe. Therefore, we see when Jefferson makes you feel great pride when he makes the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. If I have the opportunity to meet Mr. Jefferson, I will say, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness will not be sufficient. Illumination is necessary. Because any kind of happiness that you get from the external world of time will be changeful. Therefore, when you attain illumination, your happiness will be real, because it is permanent, because it is changeless. Therefore, the Upanishad says, Jo vai bhuma tat shukam. Jo vai bhuma, that which is infinite, alone can give us. Shukam means happiness. Therefore, you have to transcend this world of Maya. Maya means duality. Anything that you experience here is called a dual throng. You cannot know pleasure without knowing pain. You cannot know life without at least seeing some people dying. You see. Therefore, go beyond. Our view is not the linear view of time. Linear view of time means Aristotle, not Aristotle, I mean St. Augustine is given. He is the greatest theologian. And his book, called Confession of St. Augustine, is a wonderful book, you see. If I am to compare Augustine and Thomas Aquinas, when you read his Summas, he is very impersonal. Only one place he says that he had some experience, afterwards he did not read. He did not write any book, you see. On a saint's birthday or saint's day, he had some kind of experience that all the Summas that I have written are mere straw. See, he had some experience, a glimpse of the beyond, you see. Augustine is considered is one of the outstanding theologians of the Western world. And his view of time, that is, I have to say, time is a very important thing. Time, you see. That is the reason you say very often, I have no time. You see, I have no time. And if I speak a little more, oh, Swami, you should not talk too much. Yeah. So that is all because you are, that is all good. It is all good, you see. Only when we take care of time, we can go beyond time. Therefore, scorn, delight, and live laborious days to go beyond time. Time is Maya. Means time is relative. That is the gift of Einstein. See, take, for example, here I'm holding 10, 11, 10:30, 35. If I call New York, Rami, are you holding service? So, no, I am going for a walk. 3 hours in advance, you see. Time is relative, you see. And now, this, although Kant, the German philosopher, said before, but because he was not a scientist, he did not follow the scientific method, people did not pay much attention to it, because he was an idealist. And so realists do not accept his view, you see. Because when he said categories, 3 are the categories, called time, space, and law of causation. You see, when he says that categories, it means the frame of the mind. Mind cannot think, or intellect cannot think without bringing these 3 categories. That means it must be an object in space, you see. And also, there must be an event in time. And there should be a kind of a relationship between cause and effect. Cause and effect. Now, time is relative in this sense, because time, the idea of time comes when you think. Therefore, I will not accept Descartes' statement. I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I exist. It's not true. I exist first. Descartes has put the cart before the horse. That means existence first. Then when I identify myself with a mind or intellect, then time, space, and causation comes, you see. And therefore the logical mind, you see, logical mind is not sufficient. You have to go transcend logic, you see. But the West will not find it easy to do that, you see. The West accepts logic, reason, you see. But for empirical world, it is all right. Shankara here is called Vyavaharika and Paramarthika. You see, when you have made an engagement, you keep to time. You did not make that engagement in eternity. In eternity, there is no engagement, because there is no duality, you see. So, although we live in time, we also work with objects. But our values should be the cardinal factor in our life. And therefore, the value is dharma, righteous living. Righteous living. Righteous living in order to gain strength, inner stability, inner confidence, and inner dignity. So here we find that in the time when Shankara speaks about Maya, it is called Shat Ashat Anirvachanya, Maya. When he defines Maya, Shat Ashat Anirvachanya, you see, it exists. Time exists when you are not illumined. When you illumine time, you go beyond time. Then you accept Shakespeare's time must have stopped. Time that has sway over everything in this universe must have stopped. So time stops in two states of consciousness. In deep sleep, we do not know the passage of time, Shushupti, and also in Samadhi, Nirvikalpa Samadhi, you see. And therefore, Shushupti, in deep sleep, although we have no consciousness of time, but its time still remains, because ego remains, you see. Therefore, ego is the cause of all trouble. The ego that separates man from God and man from his neighbor. When Christ said, love thy neighbor as thyself, it is not possible to love neighbor if you think in terms of humanism or philanthropy. Love thy neighbor as thyself because it is for my own benefit. My fundamental mistake that neighbor is different from me. But when I become illumined, the real self of the neighbor and my real self are identical. Therefore, here Vedanta speaks about that when you know the real nature of the universe, then you will not make a distinction between you and the universe. You see, so universe that we experience every day, there is what you call a duality between subject and object in your waking state and in the dream state. But when in a deep sleep, the world disappears, and ego also to some extent disappears. But it does not completely disappear because you have not realized your true self, the Atman. The Atman is infinite. And therefore, if a scientist wants to be illumined, he has to realize his true nature to be infinite spirit, infinite consciousness, and infinite knowledge, you see. So here you find that Swami Vivekananda spoke to the Western world called the philosophy of Advaita, non-dualism. Non-dualism means the dualism between creature and creator is the relative knowledge, relative truth. And also science has made this dualism between scientist and the universe, man and the universe. Both these truths come under the category of aparavidya, lower knowledge. And what is the higher knowledge? Higher knowledge is that by which the indestructible reality is realized as a fact of experience. Therefore, Sri Ramakrishna, as a representative of higher knowledge or paravidya, comes to the West not to change anything, but to re-establish the essential teachings of the Bible, where Christ speaks, I and my Father one. Where Christ speaks, before Abraham was, I am. Where Christ speaks, birds have nests, foxes have holes, but the Son of Man had nowhere to lay his head. It is by reading the Bible. I did not read when I was studying the philosophy in the St. Paul's Cathedral College. I did not read the Gita and the Upanishads. I was under the impression that these things are just mere imaginations. some cock and bull stories. You see, we can not practical at all. You see, but joining the Ramakrishna order, then I could understand the essential teaching of Christ and essential teaching of the rishis of the Upanishads are the same. There is not a slightest trace of difference. Because has not the great teacher said to the Samaritan woman, birds of, no, he said, what did he say there? I want to drink some water, he asked the Samaritan woman. She refused to drink water because Samaritans are considered as non-Brahmins, according to the high-class Jews. Christ belonged to the high-class Jew. As also in South India you go, the Brahmin, non-Brahmin. See, when I was a student, so there is a Brahmin dining hall and a non-Brahmin. No Brahmin will eat along with the non-Brahmin. Things may be better now, I'm not sure. So in India there is the superstition of caste. And Europe there is the superstition of class, aristocratic class. In America there is the superstition of cash. Money talks here. So anyway, but whether you call India or Europe or America, these are called different facets of the same diamond. As diamond has many facets, similarly different facets. Facets will be different, but when you go to the essence of the diamond, there is no distinction. There is no difference. Eastern man and Western man, when he becomes illumined, he will be universal. That is what Christ said, you see. When she refused to give water, he said, the water that you give, if a man drinks, his thirst will go, but he will be thirsty again after some time. But if you give me water, out of gratitude, I will give another kind of water. Will it be like a well springing into eternal life? That means I will give you illumination, you see. Illumination means Atman. That this man-woman difference is relative knowledge. Then, or Hindu, Christian, this is relative knowledge. Or Jew, Gentile, relative knowledge. Therefore, ekattam, you see oneness of existence. Yes. By transcending your intellectual plane, you see. You have to go to the spiritual plane. Life is a dome with many colored glasses that stains the white radiance of eternity. Shelley. Life is a dome. Intellectual life is a dome. Plato calls our attention to that in his imagery of the cave. You see, when Plato was speaking philosophy, he used reason. But when he was talking about super-rational truths, he used what you call myth. I will tell you a myth, he said that. Because this cannot be conveyed to the power of reason or the power of intellect, only in the form of mythology. Mythology means symbol. You have to give only symbols. So he gave the symbol of a cave, you see, the prisoners in the cave, you see. And they are bound hand and foot, the prisoners, because in chains. This enchained prisoner means man in his state of ignorance or state of relative knowledge. He's changed by time, space, and causation. You see, every person will be afraid of death. He wants to live, but death comes. Every person wants to think what will happen in my future. Now I am young. I am so dazzling with my courage and conviction. But when old age comes, am I to go to the nursing home? You see, when I go to speak, you see, there is the nursing home there. You see, and there is that nursing home. They all. As I was saying, you see, God loves you. The sign is that you should come to the nursing home. to see us. So anyway, that is the human nature is like that, you see. He wants to find security, but there is no real security until you become illumined. That is why Buddha did not use the word Atman, but he used a state of consciousness. That's nirvana. Buddha used the word nirvana. The word is nirvana. Literal meaning of the word nirvana means blowing out. Blowing out and becoming cool. Blowing out of the apparent self, the ego. Ego. You see, ami mole ghuchibe janja. All troubles will cease when the ego disappears. Where there is ego, there is no peace, you see. But when ego disappeared, Buddha therefore used it in a negative way, nirvana. When you say nirvana, blowing out, you see, then the philosophers like Nagarjuna, you see, the great philosopher, whose beautiful book is called Madhyamika Karika. The Gaudapada was influenced by that, but that does not mean he was a Buddhist. And Shankara also sometimes, Vijnana Bhikshu calls Shankara a Prachanna Buddhist. You see, why does he Buddhist? Because they are not realists. They do not, what you call Nagarjuna, then this Gaudapada and Shankara, they do not accept causality to be the ultimate reality or absolute truth. You understand? That is the reason why causality is not the absolute truth. Nagarjuna, you see, the Madhyamika Karika says that in his way that Pratitta Samutpada Bhada, dependent causation. If anything turns and then, so as like one wave and produces another wave, another wave. See, therefore it is Nagarjuna who says the insufficiency of the intellect to know the truth. But the Buddhists have used the word shunnata, emptiness. Nagarjuna did not mean by the word shunnata nihilism. There is no permanent reality behind the universe of manifestation or permanent reality behind the psychophysical being of man. Nagarjuna did not mean that, you see. But they have used the word called emptiness or void. Here emptiness or void should mean going beyond time, space and causation, going beyond even the realm of personal God. So here you find this Shankara. Therefore Shankara is not void. Shankara is when he was refuting the Buddhist Shunyavada, that you can deny everything, but you cannot deny the existence of the denier. And on the denier I am, you have superimposed the attributes of the body. Therefore you are afraid of death. The attributes of the mind. Therefore you are unhappy. Your attributes of your finite individuality. That is the reason you always think in terms of separation. That I am superior to the rest of the world. You see, I am holier than thou. Therefore, Vedanta comes to give a kind of strength to man. Right? Vedanta does not accept the Shunyavada of the Buddhistic philosophy of life. But Vedanta speaks in terms of Purnavada. It is infinite nature of man. This condition is a kind of self-hypnosis. And dehypnotize yourself and realize from birth to death that nittoham, shuddhoham, apapaviddham, samsara maya varjitoham. As Queen Madalasha, when he was rocking her baby in the cradle, what is that? Nittoshmi, that you are eternal. Shuddhoshmi, you are shuddha, you are pure. Samsara maya, you are free from the bondage of this world. Ever free art thou. This is the message. And in order to realize this, you need a teacher, an illumined teacher who is an exemplar. Teaching is not through lectures. Teaching is through life, through experience. And that is the reason why I was, when I met Swami Brahmananda, I thought that he will deliver lectures. You see. in Calcutta, someplace and all that. I was fond of hearing lectures, you see. Surendranath Babaji, I went to hear Surendranath Babaji. He was very, like Bach, imitated Bach, you see, Surendranath Banerjee. But nothing like Gandhi. Gandhi was a sincere person, you see. Gandhi, and he talked from his heart. The other people talked from the intellect. They didn't practice. So anyway, what I want to, but Maharaj, when I met Maharaj, he was not lecturing, but his personality was dynamic, you see, magnetic personality, you see. We call the son of Sri Ramakrishna, means the spiritual experiences he inherited by his sadhana. So anyway, I have to speak to the five words, Sanskrit words. That if you want to understand Shankara's philosophy, it is called Vivartavada, Mayavada or Vivartavada. It also means called Ajatavada. These are the, not Purinamavada. West has accepted Purinamavada. What is Purinamavada? Purinamavada means theory of evolution, or theory of change, or theory of the infinite has become the finite universe. Because every person has to think, how did this universe come? You see. Therefore, there is Shankara philosophy are called Prakriti Purinama, because Shankara is trying to refute Prakriti Purinama of the Shankara philosophy. And he is also refuting Saguna Brahma Purinama of Bharti Prapancha. Bharti Prapancha, probably. Ramanuja was indebted to Bharti Prapancha. That is what you call, Aristotle also accepts that. The prime mover. Aristotle, he is called this unmoved mover or prime mover, was taken into the theology of Saint Thomas Aquinas. Saint Thomas Aquinas, Bible here, and Aristotle philosophy here. And it is a man-box universe, closed, neat, tidy and tight. But expanding universe scientists are talking about. So you find that, you see, the Vedanta is entering into the Western world through the scientists. The first I call not Newtonian physicists, because they accepted time, space, relativity to be absolute, you see. That will not work. Einstein first. The Einstein first, when we made time and space to be relative, you see. And now the Heisenberg and the quantum mechanics or physicists, they are now talking about scientist is not an observer but a participator, you see. What we know about this world is X plus mind. What you know about yourself, Y plus mind. And you can never make any connection between X and Y in the empirical plane, in the intellectual plane, you see. You have to transcend intellect. Just you cannot take a photograph of Mount Hood from the valley. If you can get only partial aspect of it, or fragmentary aspect of this mountain. If you want to take the whole picture, you have to transcend by helicopter or aeroplane, and then you can take the whole picture. Transcend. The Vedanta speaks about transcend the world of senses, transcend the world of intellect, transcend the world of ethics, transcend the world of theology, which brings dualism between creature and creator, and realize oneness of existence, oneness of reality, and that art thou. You are the infinite spirit, you see. So that what is the method? I have said a guru, you see. Tasmad guru mabhigached. Tasmad guru mabhigached. Therefore you must approach a teacher who has followed the method. And the method is Shruti, Jukti, Anubhava. Your method is Tattvamasi. First you, as it were, this is a kind of your goal, that I must realize Tattvamasi, that I am the infinite spirit. I am not finite. I am not mortal. I am immortal. But how do you realize it? Jukti, you must be intellectually convinced first, you see. Then comes Anubhuti. Anubhuti, when you see experience, Apakshanubhuti says that this world is real because we experience it. Similarly, the Atman will be real in a transcendental state of consciousness, not in an empirical state. Because in the empirical state, ego, Ego is obstinate. Ego will never go. Yeah. Hard nut to crack, as you say. Yeah, see, ego has got different ways of deceiving the individual. And so ego again expresses itself in the form of vasana, desire. I want to do good to mankind. You see. How can you do good to mankind if you are not good to yourself? You see, just as a person, you see, I will, Swami, don't worry. Don't worry, you see. But that person was willing that you have no lawnmower, I will give a lawnmower. Although he was willing, but don't worry. But I get a lawnmower from somebody. When I need, I will get it. Yeah. And if you want help, you all right. But if you don't help, that also you have got money enough. Now we don't need money now. You see, in the beginning we had. When we started, we had debt. But now all are clear. All are clear. But there is, I have to tell you this thing. There is a letter from me to write to the president. The assault on freedom. Some church people are asking. Assault on freedom, because it will be too. Because I do not know the whole thing, so I will not take, because the government is trying to make religion what you call private, individualistic, and spiritual. And therefore, some church people feel that they are not taken into consideration. You see, church people. But because I do not know anything, so I cannot write to President or Senator Thurman or another thing. The letters have come called coalition. There is a coalition, and so that is the government is not doing justice. That is the way they are thinking. Because I do not know facts, I have to keep quiet. And second thing, Swami Vivekananda has given us this kind of mandate. Hands off politics. Hands off politics. This is Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda. I have to follow Swami Vivekananda. So I am not, you see, another person going, I am going there. He showed one thing. President Reagan and Mandela. Two pictures, you see, in a stained glass or something. Who will they meet? President Reagan, although the picture is there side by side. How will they be meet? You see? Yeah. Two-party government, one will win. You see, it depends upon the people. You see, even I do not say it is your business. My thing, how to realize God. That is it. How can you get a job? I have no way. I have no crystal ball, no turban, no crystal ball. You see, how to get a job? That is your business. How to realize the truth? If you come, if the little I know, I can share with you. So here there is, therefore it is Guru Parampara. This is the called Shankaracharya, Guru Parampara. Why it is so? Because tradition is very important. Revelation is not necessary, but revelation must be connected with the tradition. And so this that is the reason why I see Christ's tradition should remain monastic. Although the householders, Sri Martin Luther, came and did something good, no doubt, to the Western world, but in order to attain mystical experience or transcendental experience, renunciation is necessary, you see. Be in the world, but not of the world. Be in the world. And the world, when you are speaking, not external, world is inside, in your own mind, you see. And therefore, when you are selfish, you are in the world. When you are unselfish and think in terms of universal good, universal welfare, you are spiritual. So spirituality, real spirituality is the cementing bond between man and man, between race and race, between faith and faith. And therefore, from the lips of Sri Ramakrishna, no word of condemnation came to any religion, to any religious aspirant, any person who is struggling to realize the truth. There should not be any, called hypocrisy. There should be sincerity. If God loves anything, He loves the simplicity of a child. Unless he be like a little child, he cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So therefore, Guru. And the Guru, the relationship with the teacher and the student is the sweetest relationship, which death cannot snap and which time cannot extinguish. It is that, because it is the relationship between the Atman and the Paramatman. The student, as it were, has to realize his own Pratyagatman. And that is the Pratyagatman is called the Ishtam, the chosen ideal. It is the Shakti. Now this is the time when you find in India, they are celebrating called Durga Puja. Today is the 6th day. See? 6th day. Tomorrow is the 7th day, the first day of worship. Then next day is Ashtami. We will have our worship on the Mahastami, on the Tuesday. Tomorrow will be the preparation. We have to be prepared to Mother Durga. Mother Durga. Mother Durga, in the Vedic religion, it is not, although Durga Saptashati is there, but the Saraswati was the important deity. Saraswati, Bhagdevi, the presiding deity of speech, Bhagdevi, Saraswati. Although Saraswati, there is a river also, Saraswati. Uma, Hoimavati, that is Kena Upanishad, you read the word, you see. Some people think that they worship God as mother. This concept came from Dravidian sources, not for Aryan, so I do not accept that. It is not because in the Vedas you find, you see, one Shukta, Devi Shukta, take in the in Rig Veda, there is Devi Shukta, Aham Rudrevi Bhushavischaram. There is the daughter of a rishi realized Brahman, and he said, I am the background of the universe, I am the ocean, and the whole universe floats like waves. They dance, they come and disappear, but I always remain real, permanent, changeless. Therefore, identify yourself with the ocean, not with the wave. So we find there is in the West, because Christian faith has been inspired by the Jewish tradition, and the Jewish faith, fatherhood of God is important. Because why Father and Jehovah? Because you see the different tribes were there, and they fought, and one tribe conquered other tribes and imposed their deity called Jehovah or Javeh on the other tribes. Other tribes used to have other kind of deities, all that. So you find this called monotheism. Christian faith clings to that monotheism. Although Christ mellowed down the image of Jehovah. Jehovah is always with frowning look, with a very somber appearance, without any smile. But Christ used the word Father, our Father in heaven, our Father. But he did not use the word Father. He used the Aramaic, Abba. But it was a kind of relationship, fatherhood of God, because Christ spoke about Father. He did not speak about motherhood of God. But motherhood of God, nothing to do with female principle or male principle. There are people who think that way. No. It is the mother principle that came from Prakriti, of the Shankar philosopher. It is the source of this universe is the Prakriti, Trigunatmika. It is composed of 3 gunas, Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And Akasha and Prana, manifestation of space and time. Akasha and Prana are matter and energy, you see, that way. So now, this idea of Prakriti, of the Shankar philosopher, could not be accepted by the Vedantist, the rishis, because consciousness is necessary. We do not find anything which moves. And also, to be real, consciousness is very important. The world does not know that it exists. Therefore, it depends upon a perceiver. That is a Shankar philosopher gift. Sanghatasya pararthatat. All compounds exist for another which is not a compound. You may have cars and all, but if nobody buys, then it will not be. You don't have any pragmatic value, you see. And also to have any kind of car, an intelligent force is necessary. you see. Because you see, from the juxtaposition of the typing of different things, a symphony cannot come like Beethoven's, you see, or Shakespeare's Hamlet, you see. So there is a intelligence behind it. Scientists are accepting that. The world seems to me not a great machine, but a great thought. But that is not enough, because thought is changeful, you see. Thought is constant, like a river, you see, in a constant flux. Therefore, the source of thought, Vedanta speaks about the source of thought, which is the principle of consciousness. The moment we come to the realm of thought, we change, because we identify with the mind, or the intellect, or the ego. And therefore, it is the changeless principle of consciousness. That has the dynamic aspect. That dynamic aspect of Nirguna Brahman is called the Divine Mother. You see, the Parashakti is a Parashakti. As fire and its burning power are inseparable. And also in life you find men and women. You see, men and women will remain. You cannot find any country anywhere, only men are there. Man's universe, you see, or women there, only women's universe. That will not be there. Always there will be dual, because it is it is called a world of Maya, world of dual throne, you see. But we have to transcend then. They are now Maya, you see. In Vedanta philosophy, Maya, all women are representatives of that Maya. See, Mahamaya. They use the word, not Maya. Shankara used the word Maya, but you find that when he himself practiced what you call worship of Mahamaya in the form of Annapurna. So Shankara's chosen deity was Annapurna, which is a beautiful poem, you see, a beautiful poem, you see. Annapurne Sadapurne Shankara Prana Vallabhe Gyana Vairagya Siddhattam Bhikshang Dehi Me Parvati Mata Me Parvati Devi Pita Deva Maheshwara Bandhava Shiva Bhaktascha Sadesho Bhuvanatrayam. You see, in Annapurna. So I used to go to the temple of Annapurna in Benares. You see, sometimes I recite. You see, when I go to Shiva temple, Shiva Tavatattang Najanami Kridishopi Mahadeva Jadishopi Maheshwara Tadrishayo Namo Namo. Oh, Mahadev, I do not know your real nature, but please accept my salutation. And it is very hot, so you give me, by coming to a place I feel cool. Yeah, because it was in Benares in hot season, the Vishnu's temple, they used to put kind of weed, kosh they call it, and sprinkle water, so it was cool. They have no kind of air conditioning system. So I used to give thanks to Shiva in Benares, because you have a cool place. When the ashrama, it is hot, all room hot. Yeah. So Tavadattang Najanami, Shiva and Shakti. This is the idea. Shiva and Shakti, the infinite spirit. If you want to worship, then either you worship, you cannot worship impersonal God. They are oneness, only in Samadhi. Yeah. That is the goal. But when you worship, we need what you call a relationship. This is a Nirguna Brahman. When a relationship is established, becomes Shaguna Brahman. You see. And there we do not think in terms that he is Sisti Sthiti Pralaya Karta, that he is the cause of creation, preservation, destruction. Because there are two aspects in bhakti. One is called the Aishwarya aspect, another is the Madhurya aspect. Aishwarya aspect is the grandeur aspect, the power aspect. But Madhurya aspect is the aspect of sweetness. And that becomes love comes. You see, if you want to love a person, you do not think, oh, I love you because you are a multimillionaire. I may get something from you. This is not love. I love you because I do not expect anything from you. I want to see you. I want to talk to you. Or if I can be of any help, I will do my best. So it is when money comes into the picture, religion of high dignity falls to the ground. So religion should be free from thought of money, thought of power, thought of influencing any people. Religion should be a thing which is like the sunshine, is meant for all, irrespective of creed, color, nationality, race. So this, the Mahashakti, but the Karuna aspect is very important, Karuna, it's a Karunamai, because here you find, especially in Durga Saptashruti or Chandi, there is a beautiful passage which is called Vidya Samastastab Devi Bheda. All the different sciences, all the philosophies are manifestations of thy glory, O Mother. You see, Sriya Samasta Sakala Jagutsu. All women are parts of thy nature, you see. But the great gift of this Tantra Shastra is the Kundalini Jagarana. That in every person there is that infinite power lying asleep. Through worship of the Divine Mother, the Kundalini is be awakened. And through her grace, one will realize Jiva Brahma Ekattam. That individual soul is identical with the universal soul. It is a Kundalini Jagarana. It is a symbolic way of talking, that we are living in this plane of consciousness which belongs to time, space and causation. But when we transcend time, space, causation, first we realize the Shaguna aspect of Brahman. The Shaguna aspect, the personal aspect of Brahman. We taste sugar. When it is called Kundalini comes to the Bhrumadhya, between the eyebrows, that in the plane one identifies with the universal mind. The universal mind is the Divine Mother, or the personal aspect of God. But going beyond that, beyond the called the Bhrumadhya, or Shavikalpa Samadhi, when it enters the communion, I belong to my beloved Lord. He is my very own. He has. Then beyond that is called Nirvikalpa Samadhi, is absolute identity. Aham Devi, one Tantra Shastra, Aham Devi Nachannasmi. I am one with Devi. That means here we're talking about identity with Nirguna Brahman. When there is identity takes place, then this relationship which exists as father and mother will become oneness. As Christ says, I and my Father one, it is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. When he says, I am the vine, you are the branches, that means Shabikalpa Samadhi, you see. So Shabikalpa and Nirvikalpa, that means when you think of God, you have to establish a relationship. But the West has accepted what I call the bridal mysticism. First I have said that theologians did not encourage mystical experience. But we find St. John of the Cross, St. Teresa, they are called mystics of the Western world. Their mysticism is called Madhura Bhava, you see. That Madhura Bhava means that the Lord is the beloved, you see. Yeah. Here it is something like Vaishnava mysticism. God is the Purusha. All are like Prakriti, you see. All the Purusha. He is the male principle. All are the female beings depending upon God. But in Bhakti mysticism, there is Shanta, Dasya, Shakka, Vatsalya, Madhur. The greatest is called Madhura Bhava, the relationship between husband and wife, the sweetest relationship. So the bridegroom has come, you see. Teresa, the bridegroom, the marriage is consummated, you see. That bridal mysticism, but still it is dualistic mysticism. There remains a kind of distinction between individual soul and the universal soul. Therefore, Advaita mysticism will be absolute identity. In bridal mysticism must lead to that the bridegroom and bride are identical. They are manifestations of the same impersonal, absolute, which is nameless, formless, attributeless essence of the universe, essence of man, and essence of God. That we find in Shankara. Shankara's Viveka Churamani. Kimapi Shatata Bodham Kevalananda Rupam Ridhi Kalayoti Vidyan Brahma Purnam Samadho Stimita Shalira Rashi Prakamakha Vihinam Ridhi Kalayoti Vidyan Brahma Purnam Samadho. That means the individual soul merges its being in the ocean of universal love, universal wisdom, and infinite life. And when one realizes that, according to Swami Vivekananda, he should follow the Bodhisattva ideal. It is Jivan Mukti. He has attained liberation. He has attained illumination. What next? Then Bodhisattva ideal comes. That is Swamiji. Swamiji, I think, was inspired by the Bodhisattva ideal of the Mahajana Buddhism. Mahajana. Buddha retraced his steps from the thraldom of Nibbana and vowed, as long as there is one soul unredeemed, he will not enter into it. You see. Therefore, Swamiji's idea is Atmana Mokshartam Jagadhitaya. First attain self-enlightenment. Afterwards, enkindle the spirit of love, spirit of wisdom, and spirit of all-embracing understanding to the rest of the mankind, especially those who are seekers after truth, who are seekers after illumination, who are seekers after freedom from the bondage of samsara, life, death, and rebirth. May Holy Mother bless us on this auspicious day, because the Durga that we will worship in picture is the living Durga, whose blessing has given me strength to live the life of renunciation and to come to the West and do my humble bit of service to the Western people according to my capacity. So I present to you the Holy Mother, the greatest woman that walked the face of the earth in the 19th century. And may her blessing be on us so that we may live a life of true spirituality and realize the truth of God in our own life. Thank you.